If you're bored with stories about regular sports, come experience a new sport with me. A young man who lost a leg when he was young suffered discrimination from those around him, making his life worse. But everything has changed since that guy successfully used his prosthetic leg in skateboarding with skillful techniques. After some unfortunate events, the boy successfully joined a professional skateboarding group with the name Extreme, and of course the road ahead is still full of hardships and challenges. Whether the boy can overcome everything to prove himself and successfully enroll in the national team for this subject, let's watch together. Today's outstanding news that everyone is interested in. Skateboarding has officially been chosen as one of the Olympic sports. At the end of this year or early next year, the country plans to hold a nationwide selection to find someone to represent Korea. And according to the announcement of the Korean Skateboarding Federation, they plan to organize a skateboard parade throughout the country to spread the word about skateboarding, as well as increasing the number of parades to ensure more people attend. Then outstanding individuals will appear, be trained and have the opportunity to shine in the arena. On the street, a handsome young man with a shining smile leisurely rides his beloved skateboard. The skateboard was expertly controlled by the young man and quickly crossed the busy road with passers-by. Even the stairs are not too difficult an obstacle for the skateboard and that guy. Arriving in front of the school's door, the boy held his skateboard in his arms while his mouth was always humming his favorite song. Even his friends around him noticed his happiness, so they were all curious about what was so funny. The boy smiled back at each of them and he said he would tell everyone later. Now that he has to go to class first, there must be some good news that has come to him. And rightly so, because today is a very special day for this bright boy. Because today is the club's membership recruitment period. The boy has always wanted and dreamed of joining the skateboarding club, and he is determined to do his best in this selection round. At the same time, at the skateboarding club, the members were all very excited because someone named Suk-kun had just posted a new video on Instagram. The video starts with a skateboarder with extremely high speed and skillful techniques. The sound of the small wheel rubbing against the road made others excited. It was a guy with a confident smile and navy blue hair. Everyone who watched the video praised him for his skillful technique and eye-catching skateboard jumps. Again, it's trending again, a guy watching the video said. The blue-haired guy in the video just now was sitting right next to him with his phone. How many views did he get? It's already 8,000 likes. Right at this moment the door suddenly opened and a person appeared. Please excuse me, I came to join the club. The laughter in the room just now suddenly stopped when there was a new person. Everyone turned their eyes to the person who had just entered. There was talk about him, right? Did you know, he was very famous last year? The boy with the shining smile who just walked in was also bewildered by this scene because the atmosphere didn't feel quite right, making him think he had gone to the wrong club. The blue-haired man looked at the newcomer for a moment and then suddenly smiled. You want to join the skateboarding club, right? So why don't we do a test first? A test? The young man asked again curiously. That's right, there's no need to worry too much, it's just a test to see if you know the school or not, so let's meet after school, of course, yes. The blue-haired guy came closer and put his arm around the boy's neck. Yes, what's wrong? I'm only a second-year student, so let's talk comfortably. Well then, see you after class. In the hallway, the boy silently wondered if he could join the club if he passed the test. I'm really looking forward to it. The lessons begin with the excitement of youth. After school that day in a neighborhood with residential buildings close together. Hey Seokun, are you planning to check it out here? The blue-haired guy heard someone's voice coming and smiled and replied, oh, I'm here. It's been a while since the club was established, so it's time to recruit new acts. We've eliminated so many candidates, but there's still one person left, right? Hey, who is that? It's so persistent that people wonder. Seokun stared at the phone for a while then slowly answered it was Hanasaikwo. Class 23 Hanasaikwo is him, right? Is that reasonable? He knows how to skateboard. I don't understand why when it comes to this guy, Hanasaikwo, everyone seems a bit hesitant and confused. Seokun now showed a sinister smile. Yes, it should be someone like him. How can we agree to let him join? The freckled-faced guy nodded, of course if that was the case, but before he could finish his sentence, another cheerful voice chimed in, apologizing for the long wait. I had some problems in the bathroom so I was late. This sudden appearance startled everyone and Seokun also looked at the newcomer. That was the boy in the morning with a handsome face in active clothes and a skateboard in his hand. At this time, the guy named Hanasaikwo in the discussion of those guys earlier was bewilderedly looking at the surrounding street. This place today's test is so steep. Seokun gave a simple smile that didn't have to slip a bit and that was it. Hearing that, Hungsikwo was a bit confused, but he nodded and breathed a confusing sigh. Oh right, wait for me a little bit. Suk-kun was next to him, looking at that guy's appearance and remembering his morning conversation with his friends, when someone in the club asked Se-kun if he knew the subscriber. Join today, right? At that time, he replied that he knew it during the test anyway. Besides, who in the school didn't know that guy because he was famous? After struggling for a while, Hung Si-kwo finally finished preparing, and suddenly what he prepared was a prosthetic leg. Who doesn't know that guy in school that he has a disability? It's surprising that the young man who was proficient with a skateboard in the morning is actually disabled and has lost his left leg. Han Si-kwo now looked down the steep slope, took a deep breath and thought to himself that if he passed the test, he would be a member of the skateboarding club. Come on. But maybe things weren't as Han Si-kwo thought when Seo-kun's friend also asked the same question. If he achieved it, would Seo-kun accept him? You mean Han Si-kwo? Seo-kun asked sarcastically. Do you think I'm crazy for letting a disabled person join this club? This afternoon I will give him a very unreasonable test and then wait for him to give up. Those were the thoughts in Seo-kun's head, but in the next blink of an eye, he widened his eyes in surprise when he saw the young man confidently put his backpack on the ground and take off with his skateboard. A happy smile appeared on the corner of Hung Si-kwo's lips, and even though he lost a leg, he still confidently rushed down the steep slope. This talent of yours made Seo-kun freeze in bewilderment. Don't tell me that jumper plans to slide down the steep slope with a prosthetic leg. The movements of slowing down and controlling the direction of the skateboard were performed skillfully and beautifully by Hung Si-kwo. From above, Suk-kun also noticed these movements and techniques. It surprised him even more because Han Si-kwo slowed down right at the S-shaped section and adjusted his speed crazy. But at this moment suddenly the skateboard wheel became wobbly and unstable. The looseness of the skateboard's wheels made Han Si-kwo feel a bit off balance. Even the screws that fix the skateboard to the wheels become loose when moving at high speed. But I already guessed it, Seo-kun thought, and then he gave a sinister smile. That afternoon, a friend of Hung Si-kwo asked to see his skateboard. Han Si-kwo immediately wondered what was wrong with his skateboard. It's just a regular skateboard. Yes, can I borrow it? I'll give it back to you for a test. Then remember to return it to me so I can take the club test this afternoon. Han Si-kwo didn't hesitate to lend his friend his skateboard, but he didn't expect that friend to be the one Suk-kun had installed to adjust his skateboard. So now the screws on the skateboard are loose and about to fall off. After moving a few more meters, I could not withstand the impact due to friction with the road surface. Both the wheel and the entire set of screws flew off. Han Si-kwo was bewildered when both his body and the skateboard were thrown off the ground. Because you are moving at high speed on a steep slope, it is very dangerous for the skateboard's wheels to fly off. Sorry, but it ends here. I don't want someone like you to appear for the club. This moment and time seemed to be frozen for the young man and that broken skateboard. In that moment Han Si-kwo remembered his childhood. Because when he was a child he lost a leg in a serious accident. The boy had to use crutches and practice balancing all the time with his other leg. When he was in high school, his parents spent a lot of money to install a smart prosthetic leg for their son. If you could say there's anything special about a person with only one leg like you, that is. Han Si-kwo's next action made Seo-kun also bewildered and confused. One of his feet kicked into the falling skateboard, causing it to spin. Then those legs immediately took the opportunity to stand firmly on the board. What is special about one-legged people is their ability to balance differently than normal people. Hung Si-kwo calmly and safely controlled the skateboard that had lost its wheels, successfully balancing it on the road surface. The people watching around were extremely surprised at the scene before their eyes. Next, the skateboard without wheels shot straight up the steep slope beautifully. With a whooshing sound, he landed safely on the road but caused the skateboard to break in half. At this moment, Hung Si-kwo breathed a sigh of relief because he had finally stopped. But suddenly the board slid downhill, causing him to fall backwards. I'm dead, right? There's also inertial force, I forgot. Right after that, due to the inertial force of the steep slope, Han Si-kwo again slid loudly and rolled down the slope. The young man hit the pile of trash next to the electric pole at the end of the alley, making a loud noise. Mom, my back. The strong impact made Hung Si-kwo's mind explode. While feeling tired and unable to react, he caught something in his eyes. Who's there? The shadowy figure made Han Si-kwo wonder. It seemed like it was a girl walking next to him. While the boy was still dreaming, Seo-kun's voice rang out again. Are you okay? Ha looks fine, luckily there are no injuries. That last test was disappointing. His tone and words completely shocked Han Si-kwo because he thought he had done very well. What, but it's because of the skateboard. Han Si-kwo quickly jumped up to explain. That's your business and has nothing to do with me. Stop screaming and get out of here, boy. Seo-kun coldly glared at Hanesaiko with his venomous snake eyes. Hanesaiko was bewildered and could not react to the teasing and laughter of the guys in the skateboard club. They didn't care about him at all but had fun together and didn't leave Hanesaiko sitting there tiredly alone. It seemed like the guy was quite shocked to be treated so maliciously. The cool scene of Hanesaiko just now with his skateboard whose wheels were blown off, competently and calmly handle earthworks incidents safely. This scene was recorded by a phone and now the video is being played for someone to review. So this is the person you're talking about, a guy with a muscular body. After watching Hanesaiko's video, he asked the girl next to him. A muscular guy with romantic, wild hair and a long scar across his face silently watched the video for a long time. Then he pondered before speaking. It looked interesting. A group of like-minded skateboarders is called a guild. Around Hanesaiko's neighborhood, the students mostly participated in groups like this, and among the school's active skateboarders, the ones that stood out all came from famous skateboarding groups. Language. But in high school, who wants to play this childish game? However, there are also many people who want to join the skateboard club and there are also many people who are invited to join groups. Obviously Hanesaiko is one of those people. At least until today, the boy sat bewilderedly looking at his broken skateboard with mixed feelings. Dusk has gradually fallen and the buildings in the city are also starting to light up. At this time, Hanesaiko sat absent-mindedly in the park with his amputated leg and sighed in frustration. Suddenly a can of chilled Coke was put in front of him by someone. A muscular boy with a scar on his face appeared and asked why he was sitting alone. His face had a scar across it and his cold eyes were extremely intimidating. Hanesaiko was also startled by this appearance because he looked very scary. The young man did not pay attention to Hanesaiko's reaction and immediately sat down in the empty space next to him on the wooden chair. He looked at him thoughtfully and said that he saw him come over here and sit after rushing down that slope. Hanesaiko was startled. How could he be there? The scar-faced guy waved his hand. I'll explain later, but for now, let's get back to the problem. Do you want to join our skateboarding group? I'm Hanesaiko, bewildered and not understanding anything. Oh right, wait a minute, the scarred boy said while rummaging around in his pocket. Here it is called the Ultimate Guild. I work here and to make things easier I want to test you a bit. Hanesaiko received the mysterious black business card in his hand, but inside he was constantly panicking because maybe he was being followed. Why was it him? The other guy didn't seem to pay much attention to Hanesaiko's expression, but he continued to say that the slope was quite deep and required the player to have good technique. Hanesaiko's sliding in an S-shape is extremely reasonable. But right after that moment where his skateboard broke off the wheels causing him to lose his balance was really cool. At that time, Hanesaiko changed his focus in the blink of an eye and had quite good reflexes. The scar-faced boy did not shy away from praising the virtues of the scene just now. Even though it's a bit rude to say it so bluntly, still. Even when he had to use a prosthetic leg, the scar-faced boy's voice became hesitant because mentioning the pain of others is not good after all. But hearing that, Hanesaiko smiled and shook his head. Haha, it's normal but I'm already used to it. Hearing that, the scar-faced boy didn't say anything more. Well, I don't force you to participate, but I'm sure it will surprise you. If you have already decided, just follow the address to find it. Ah, that kid in the same school as you is also in our association. Hanesaiko looked bewildered at the man who stood up and prepared to leave. Just think carefully. Then the scar-faced guy said goodbye to Hanesaiko and quickly left the same way he came. Everything happened so fast that Hanesaiko still didn't understand anything because he had never heard of this name. That evening at my apartment, Hanesaiko lay on the bed quietly looking at the ceiling. His eyes were wide open, not knowing what he was thinking that made him so ecstatic. Old memories appeared in his mind, the scene of Hanesaiko with a strange young man. Hanesaiko seemed sad at that time and asked if he was really going this time. The young man next to him with silver hair smiled and replied, yes, you know I've been waiting for it for a long time. But Hanesaiko, please remember this. Surely in the future there will be people who criticize him for skateboarding simply because he only has one leg. Even though it will be difficult for you, don't get angry or depressed, just keep trying. He will definitely be able to do more than that. At that time, Hanesaiko was surprised and extremely warm when he heard these genuine words of comfort and encouragement from his friend. Now those words of advice were again present in his mind. Slowly, he raised his hand and above it was the business card of the Limit Association that he had just received. Hanesaiko moved his eyes away from the ceiling and turned to look straight at the business card, thinking ecstatically. The night sky did not have a single starlight and the lights turned off one by one and they fell into a peaceful sleep. Very quickly, the night passed, the sky was bright again with rolling clouds and cool air. In a small apartment, the clicking sound of a gaming keyboard was heard. There are two enemies over here. Take them down quickly. I'll take care of them over here. Oh my god, the angry blonde guy slammed down on the laptop keyboard and his name is Ha Sung-ho, occupation Dyotup, 21 years old. Ha Sung-ho turned around angrily and yelled at the fat guy left in the room, "You have to help me, idiot, I don't think that's a good idea. I shouldn't have played couples games with you, but you're the one who couldn't beat a single guy, haha, this guy with brown hair and chubby body is a real Ochan." 19-year-old novelist. In a daze, the two of you shut your mouths and go in the morning, but it's already too noisy. The cold guy lying on the bed is a 19-year-old Kwon Hyun-ho and a ragbutt. Please keep your voice down, it's giving me a headache. The beautiful girl is Choi Sun-mi, a model who just turned 18 years old. Leave them alone, Choi Sun-mi. Have they ever listened to me? My sister's name is Becca Dunn, she's 21 years old and is a dance instructor. You guys are so noisy, I can hear it in the hallway. If you keep making noise like that, you'll be kicked out. The loud voice of the scarred boy who just walked in from the door with a bag of food. Would you like to buy marmalade? The little boy is Kim Chae-min, 12 years old and a talented programmer. Oh, that's right, I heard you were looking for an interesting boy. When everyone saw the scarred boy coming, they were curious and asked about that story. Who knows, he may or may not participate. This man with wild hair and muscular appearance is Lee Suko, 37 years old and the owner of this building. What are you talking about? Ha Sung-ho wondered blankly. At this moment, suddenly the doorbell rang continuously. Someone must have rang the bell. Kwon Hyun-ho lying on the bed also sat up. It must have been him, right? Lee Suko came to open the door. Who was it outside? The appearance of the person outside the door made him seem a bit surprised. The person who knocked on the door was the boy who was skateboarding with only one Hongsikwo leg. Are you here? You're here earlier than I thought. You've already made a decision. Lee Sudrai leaned back against the door and looked at the boy in front of him and asked. Hongsikwo immediately smiled to reveal his white teeth. Yes, I will join your group. Hearing the answer directly from the boy, Lee Suko couldn't help but smile and gave him a rare smile, making his face look much gentler. After that, he stepped aside and signaled Hongsikwo to go into the room, while everyone in the room stared at the newcomer. Come in, welcome to the Ultimate Club. At this time, after the introduction period, everyone in the room turned around Hongsikwo and looked at him attentively like they were looking at some rare animal. What is this? They all showed unbelievable surprise in their eyes. Everyone gasped, but only the girl named Choi Sun-mi seemed calm as if she knew everything in advance. What is this? Isn't that a smart leg? So everyone was startled by Hongsikwo's amputated leg because they probably have never seen anyone who can play a skateboard with just one leg like that. Hongsikwo was so used to the sudden attention of everyone around him that he shyly smiled. Haha, it was a bit awkward, right? So to welcome our new member Hongsikwo, Lee Suko was about to announce the results of today's meeting when a voice interrupted. Wait a minute, I object. Has he proven his skills yet? The blonde-haired boy Ha Sung-ho raised his hand in protest. What I mean is that you decided to follow him after seeing him riding downhill, that's what you mean. Lee Suko glanced over at the blonde boy and nodded. Yes, that's true. But even so, didn't he fall in the end? Ha Sung-ho stared at Hongsikwo and questioned. At this moment, Choi Sun-mi immediately opened the video on her phone and said that she witnessed with her own eyes the skateboard breaking in half. Ha Sung-ho still stubbornly sticks to his opinion because if that's the case then it means Hongsikwo didn't take good care of his skateboard. Kwon Hyun-ho sitting next to him noticed the appearance of this blonde guy, making him wonder why he was so against the newcomer. Kwon Hyun-ho kept feeling that something was wrong with him. Something strange and difficult to explain. Lee Suko felt that the atmosphere was starting to go wrong and immediately interrupted. So what you're saying is that he needs to prove his skills before he can join the team, right? So why don't you two try playing a game together? Both Ha Sung-ho and Hongsikwo were surprised by this proposal. Lee Suko looked at Ha Sung-ho's wrinkled face and asked sarcastically, why are you scared when you frown like that? Ha Sung-ho angrily clenched his fists. His teeth clenched tightly, making a squeaking sound. Then he slammed his hand on the table, startling Hongsikwo. Okay, let's play. Who's scared of who? Ha Sung-ho glanced at Hongsikwo and thought to himself, what about him? He's obviously better than me. Ha Sung-ho then turned his eyes to Lee Suko. What was he thinking? At a skateboard training ground with some obstacles, Lee Sudrai started explaining the rules of the game to two participants. We will decide strikers and defenders by rock, paper, scissors. The striker will start first to show off his technique, and the defender will follow the striker's technique. If the defender successfully performs all those techniques he will receive a point. Lee Suko explained without looking at the two people in front of him and asked again that it was easy and right. Does anyone have any more questions? Ha Sung-ho was completely confident before this match, so he immediately shook his head no longer. Whether I'm a striker or a defender, I'll win without holding back. It'll be easy to play against a legless kid. I just like to skateboard with my friends and I'll finish it quickly. In contrast to Ha Sung-ho's confident appearance, Han Se-kwo still seems a bit nervous with this strange rule. After a moment of warming up, the two of them stepped up together on the high belly and prepared to slide down. The starter was Ha Sung-ho with his skateboard placed firmly on the edge of the platform. He leisurely looked at his skateboard and thought he had to start with something light. With a whooshing sound, the impact force from the body made the skateboard carrying the Ha Sung-ho rush downwards. His confident demeanor is clearly shown and Ha Sung-ho is very comfortable controlling the skateboard like he controls his hands. After rushing down from the steep slope, he began to fly straight across the ground. The moment the skateboard began to stabilize its speed, Ha Sung-ho's eyes shifted slightly with extreme concentration. In that blink of an eye, one of his feet stomped hard on the back of the skateboard, causing the skateboard to bounce up. Seizing the opportunity, his other foot kicked hard at the other end of the skateboard, causing it to rush forward. This is a jumping move with a skateboard and is a technique often used by professional skateboarders to perform. Seeing this beautiful technique of Ha Sung-ho Han Se-kwo, I couldn't help but stare with wide eyes. The skateboard flew up, carrying Ha Sung-ho's body straight down to a nearby platform. His eyes were focused on the edge of the wooden platform. With a click, the skateboard successfully landed safely on the edge of the wooden platform. No se lie is a slide performed on the wheel nose of the axle just touching the edge of the obstacle, a difficult technique and also very dangerous if wrong. But it wasn't over yet when Ha Sung-ho started moving on that wooden platform obstacle with just one edge of the skateboard. His calm face focused on each moment and then suddenly he jumped up with force, pulling the skateboard with him. Now the skateboard jumped off the previous obstacle and successfully landed on the ground with ease. He started moving at high speed, aiming straight at a steep, high wall nearby. Ha Sung-ho's eyes were extremely alert, calm and extremely focused. With a whooshing sound, the skateboard rushed straight up the steep slope at extremely fast speed. Ha Sung-ho's body and the skateboard both flew into the air. He reached out and stole the skateboard, then successfully landed coolly and safely. Lee Suko calmly looked at this performance thoughtfully without saying anything because perhaps he also understood what Ha Sung-ho's technique was, so he wasn't too surprised. The rest of the extreme group who sat and watched also praised. Well done, you haven't done it in a long time, I thought you would fall over. Han Se-kwo paid attention to his every move. After completing the slide and ending with no se lie, looking at such clever techniques, he could feel his intention to win. His win. Han Se-kwo's hands holding the skateboard tightened because he hadn't skated for a long time, so he wasn't sure if he would do well. I'm not sure I can do it as well as him. Ha Sung-ho was wiping his sweat and thoughtfully looking at the one-legged boy. It's almost over and he's linking techniques with one leg. I've never heard of this, Ha Sung-ho. Think. At this time, Han Se-kwo stood seriously for a moment and then dropped the skateboard to the ground. This action of his made Ha Sung-ho confused. What the hell is he doing with his pants rolled up? Habitually Han Se-kwo raised his pant leg to reveal his prosthetic leg and used that prosthetic leg to start stepping on the skateboard. Choi Sun-mi approached and explained that before skateboarding, Han Se-kwo always did that. Ha Sung-ho doesn't understand anything and he feels this action is very confusing and is it worth watching? At first, he still seemed very worried, but when he started stepping on the skateboard, Han Se-kwo seemed to have transformed into another person with a strangely calm appearance. Starting with a prosthetic leg, a skateboard carrying Han Se-kwo straight down the steep slope. Kwon Hyun-ho has been coldly watching the match since the beginning, but when he saw Han Se-kwo like that, he couldn't help but be startled. That kid used all his speed to go downhill. Han Se-kwo's whole body was radiating an aura like an arrow that never stops. After going downhill, the skid reached a maximum speed. The wheel constantly rubs against the floor, making a squeaking and extremely stimulating sound. Unlike Ha Sung-ho Han Se-kwo, he decided not to pay attention to the obstacles and rushed straight to the steep slope. Then both he and his skateboard went straight up the slope. But the moment the tip of the skateboard touched the ground above, Han Se-kwo's foot stepped on it so hard that the skateboard and he were both thrown backwards. Ha Sung-ho stared wide-eyed at this scene. This is a technical jack that kicks one leg back to roof 360 degrees. Lee Suko calmly looked at this performance and began to make judgments. The technique is very beautiful and in the right places, but it's a bit lacking. He had to be within reach to hold the skateboard and land stably. But right now the skateboard is too far away for him to grasp it. If he doesn't grasp it, he will fall from a high place. Now what are you going to do? Lysuko silently wondered. Hana Saiko's face did not reveal any expression. In the blink of an eye, his prosthetic legs came out very quickly. The leg successfully crossed the skateboard's wheels and miraculously fixed the skateboard. The prosthetic leg is now like a hook that allows Hansequo to pull the skateboard closer to his reach. This sudden action made Lysuko's eyes widen in surprise. What is he pulling the skateboard back with his foot? In his eyes, Hansequo successfully controlled the skateboard with his prosthetic leg like a miracle. Then his other foot stepped firmly on the stabilized skateboard. With relief, he turned around in the air, dragging his skateboard with him. Then a beautiful spin was performed. With a Hansequo sound, his skateboard safely landed on the ground in a spectacular way. In the distance, Ha-sung-ho stood still, unable to believe his eyes before this performance. What did he just use his smart prosthetic leg to reach the tip of the board? The other side of Lysuko was also very surprised because of this amazing reflexes and his ability to maintain balance can successfully any landing, no matter what technique or skill is performed by skateboarders are useless if they don't land successfully. But this kid is so amazing. Lysuko feels lucky to have followed Choi Sun-mi's advice and pulled this kid into the group. He is the best skater technically and creates feats that other people cannot do. At the same time, in a certain corner of this neighborhood, a group of young men gathered together like drug-addicted thugs. What did you say? Say it again, Seakin asked thoughtfully with his signature blue hair. Yes, I heard that yesterday Hansequo and Lysuko went together in the park. Isn't Lysuko the president of the Limit Group? Is Hansequo joining that stupid group? Seo-kun grimaced his face and gritted his teeth because Lysuko had finally made his move. Under the sunset of a beautiful afternoon, everyone gathered together and kept asking and praising because Hansequo's reflexes just now were really very determined. Ha-sung-ho is still standing in a corner bewildered and perhaps he still hasn't recovered from this shock. His face still held the shock that had not yet dissipated. What's wrong with having only one leg and being so young? How could he do that technique? Ha-sung-ho looked at the boy in front of him and wondered. While everyone was laughing and having a good time, he approached and coldly interrupted. What the hell is skating? Anyway, I ended up failing his defense, so the score is 1-0 and we can continue the match, right? Choi Sun-mi interrupted. There's no need to stop here, I don't care if it counts or not, Ha-sung-ho said as he turned and left. Do whatever you like, I have no opinion. Looking at his back, Choi Sun-mi wondered, confused, what was wrong with him? It seemed like she was about to lose so she ran away. Hansequo bewilderedly scratched his head and asked what he should do now. Seeing that, Lysuko immediately turned around and asked everyone if anyone else objected to his participation. Everyone had agreed from the beginning, so now no one objected at all. So today's meeting was fruitful, right? And it looks like we just got a new member. Everyone in the Extreme Club happily smiled and replied in unison. Feeling welcomed by everyone and starting a new journey, Hansequo happily flashed his trademark smile and sparkling eyes. Thank you everyone, I promise to do my best. Okay Hansequo, let's talk a bit. When he heard Lysuko's call, the boy immediately nodded yes. After everyone in the Extreme group dispersed to Lysuko with Hansequo sitting on the steps, the scar-faced guy started the story by asking when did Hansequo start skateboarding? It's a bit complicated but I started learning through a friend, he's the best skater I've ever known and thanks to him I was able to get here. Currently he is abroad, I think we will have a chance to meet again if I try harder in skateboarding, Hansequo said as he looked at the distant sky as if he wanted to penetrate through space saw his friend. Look into the hopeful and confident eyes of the thoughtful Lysuko boy. It would be a very good achievement if it were this kid. Then he immediately asked, Hansequo, do you want to join the national skateboarding team? The sudden question made Hansequo gasp. Why did the national team suddenly appear? Lysuko smiled reassuringly at your skills and potential. I think it's possible. What do you think? That's also my goal. At the same time, I also want to train my team members. Me. So that's why you created the ultimate group? Lysuko heard that and nodded. Honestly, I want to be a coach who owns his own team. What do you think? This offer is very attractive but Hansequo still has a lot of hesitation. Do you think I can join? If you haven't tried it, how can you know? The important thing is the determination whether you want to do it or not. Starting is also part of the competition, I don't care but, come on, put that old skateboard away and remember to stop by after school, I'll introduce you to the other members of the team. The two of them happily talked without realizing that Suk-kun had left. Stood quietly, watching and listening from afar. He gritted his teeth and glanced at that man, the coach of the team. He was so cocky. Just wait and see, no matter what, I can't let you achieve that wish. The night sky was filled with sparkling stars, and after participating in the Hungsikwo festival, he immediately returned to his home. I'm home. The boy with a skateboard in his hand opened the door and entered the apartment. Are you home? A little girl asked. ASU, where are my parents? Why am I alone here? There's a meeting today, so my parents will be home late. They told me to heat up the kimchi and eat it, the girl said while pointing towards the dining table. Okay, I know. Suddenly, the girl asked her brother with a serious face, oh my god, are you still failing at those dangerous things? Hanasikwo panicked. Hey, don't tell your parents, do you understand? Little Sue moved her eyes towards the TV and said that she wouldn't, but if her brother got hurt she would tell her parents. After finishing dinner and bathing, Hanasikwo sat on his bed. Oh my god, it's so refreshing. Now Hungsikwo is thinking about Captain Lasuko's words about joining the national team. The young man moved closer to his desk and reached out to pull out the drawer. Inside the drawer is a photo of Hungsikwo and the white-haired guy who taught him how to play skateboards. Holding the photo in Hanasikwo's hand, he silently thought that if he participated in the world competition, would we meet again? The memory of the time spent with that white-haired boy was something unforgettable in Hanasikwo's mind. The next morning at the apartment where the extreme group gathered. Nice to meet you. I'm Choi Sun-mi. I'm the same age as you and use longboards. My name is Oh Chan-kwat, I'm 19 years old, nice to meet you. The chubby guy with brown hair and round glasses scratched his head and introduced himself. Oh Chan-kwat is beautiful and very good at drawing patterns on skateboards. Kwon Hyun-ho next to him interrupted. He didn't call it that, please correct your terminology. Brown-haired Oh Chan-kwat quickly introduced him as a bookworm and the guy with short hair. This black guy is a hipster who dresses stylishly. Choi Sun-mi helplessly looked at those two guys and introduced to Hanasikwo that Kwon Hyun-ho was 1 year older than her. That's all he was, and he wanted to become a famous rapper. Release an album of his own music. The other girl in the room also waved her hand, greeting her 21-year-old older sister named Beth Adun. At this time, Beth Adun looked behind him and called out, Hey Ha-sung-ho, come here and say hello. Ha-sung-ho coldly with blonde hair lying on the bed turned around and faced the wall. Why should I introduce myself? I'm very sleepy, so stop bothering me. Choi Sun-mi heard that and couldn't help but mumble and say bad things. Ha-sung-ho is the same age as Bak Adun, and as you can see, he is like a child. Ho is very good at making gyotup, and I'm the youngest in the group. It's nice to meet you. This boy's name is Kim Chae-min. He's only 12 years old, but he's very good at technology. And you know, this is the boss of the Ly Sudrai group. He let us hitchhike in this room. Ly Suko now appears with a brand new skateboard, and as promised, this is the welcome gift for the kid. Hanasikwo was bewildered and happy. Is that for me? Thank you very much. Yes, I told him to decorate the kumquat to make it look the most beautiful, but that guy is very good at composing online stories. Hearing that, Hungsikwo immediately raised the skateboard up so he could clearly see the pattern below. What do you think? Do you like it? It's a pattern painted with luminous ink with a wolf and his prosthetic leg. Hanasikwo hugged the skateboard in his arms and smiled. Yes, I like it very much, thank you very much. And so, with the ultimate group's welcome party, Hanasikwo has officially joined this world of skateboards. A happy smile starts a new journey with new teammates. Hey Hanasikwo, how are you? In the classroom, Hungsikwo was sitting in a dazed state of ecstasy, even when his friend kept calling but he didn't respond. Hey Hanasikwo, his friend shouted loudly, startling Hanasikwo out of his thoughts. Hey, what's the matter? You called me. The friend wearing glasses next to you doesn't understand why you're so distracted today. What's wrong? What are you talking about? Why did that bastard goat do that to you? After hearing the story, the friend asked angrily. Well, I don't know what happened, but I've been in that situation before, but overall I'm very happy because thanks to that, I joined a new group so now I can practice harder. Oh my god, is he the Hanasikwo I know? In high school, he was traumatized and sad, but now he's admirably optimistic and kind. But anyway, the club thing. How's that? What club? Hansikwo asked in bewilderment. Yes, I have to go to the club to register before the deadline. Oh my god, today was the deadline and besides, he couldn't sign up. While his friend was hastily explaining, a voice next to him looked over. My god, you haven't joined any clubs yet? Hey, who's talking? The friend turned around in bewilderment. If so, then you're lucky. Unexpectedly, the girl who just appeared in a school uniform is Choi Sunmi. You said Choi Sunmi Skateboarding Club, but obviously don't we have one in school? Hanasekwo knows absolutely nothing about these clubs. Oh, that club, it's a small club with only 7 members and only those who know a little bit can learn more from the pros, but ours will be a place where anyone who wants to skateboard can comfortably participate and learn. We can teach each other, skate together and talk about many more things. What do you think? Sounds fun, right? Faced with Choi Sunmi's excitement, Hanasekwo shyly smiled and replied yes ha. Hanasekwo's friend, who was still blushing, now excitedly raised his hand and agreed to participate and wanted to learn how to skateboard. Choi Sunmi saw that and was extremely happy. What's wrong? What's more, we really need a lot of those people. Hanasekwo whispered in his friend's ear, you want to learn how to skateboard, why do you think you joined the film club just because you don't want to do physical activities? Hanasekwo, you did. Have you sent me your participation form yet? Now there are no movies, my skateboarding journey starts today. Hanasekwo looked at his friend in bewilderment, wondering what the hell happened to him. Okay, I'll go prepare, but if we have 2 more people then we will reach the minimum number of members, Choi Sunmi said with a smile while writing notes in the notebook, making Hanasekwo shocked again. Wait a minute, there are 2 more people, what do you mean Choi Sunmi? Isn't the minimum requirement for a club is 5 people? Yes, of course, those 5 people. You are the first member, Hanasekwo. Faced with this harsh truth, Hanasekwo could only stand speechless. What is that? You mean this club will be established by us? After being forced by Choi Sunmi, Hanasekwo was also forced to enter and exit this new club, and that afternoon along with Choi Sunmi went to find the 2 remaining members. Now there are 3 people, only 2 people are missing. Hanasekwo heard that and immediately wondered where we could find it. Don't worry, just follow along and trust me, I will solve the problem quickly. After the 2 of them went to 3rd grade, they met a boy who convinced him to join the club but received a rejection. Why is there no problem when you join? Choi Sunmi enthusiastically advised when he was rejected. Opposite her was a guy in a white hat shaking his head. I decided to join the production club and make my own project, and besides, today is the deadline, why are you left to earn money at this hour? Pill, take it slow while you think about it. But before Choi Sunmi could continue, the door slammed shut. It's not my business. It's a waste of my precious rest time. Go find someone else. Standing in front of the closed wooden door, Choi Sunmi kept muttering to others. Very quickly, the 2 of them approached the novelist Oh Changkwat but were still rejected with a shake of the head, no disinterest, and thank you. Choi Sunmi was so angry that she slammed the table. And you refused to? Choi Sunmi, keep your voice down, we're in the library. Oh Changkwat looked intently at the book in front of him and he decided to join the animation club. Oh my god, why did everyone join the club? Choi Sunmi's white cheeks were bulging with anger and looked so adorable. But suddenly the girl thought of a plan, so she whispered to Oh Changkwat. So what if this is the case? Very quickly the break passed and everyone started their afternoon classes. Hanasekwo sat in the corner of the classroom constantly wondering why Choi Sunmi was able to convince Oh Changkwat with a limited edition model. So now they just need to recruit 1 more person to form a club. Hanasekwo thought while looking around the class, and if he asked everyone in the class now, there would have to be at least 1 person who hasn't joined any clubs. Have you joined any clubs yet? Of course, today is the deadline. In the evening, I joined the school's intelligence club. Sorry, I also have my own club. I've been participating for a long time, sir. Standing on the rooftop, Hanasekwo tiredly sighed why everyone in the class worked so hard. What if the club cannot be established now because there are not enough members? If it cannot be established, members who have not joined any club will be forced to join. Taking a deep breath, the class bell rang and Hanasekwo walked towards the stairs and walked down. Right when he reached out to open the door, then suddenly the door was pushed open by someone inside and the person who appeared was Seo-kun. Hanasekwo's eyes suddenly looked at the person in front of him. The boy saw that the person who had just appeared was not doing well, so he was startled and took a step back. Hanasekwo, what are you doing here? Seo-kun said coldly, annoyed. What you do is none of your business. Hanasekwo's answer made Seo-kun suddenly widen his eyes. Immediately he grabbed Hanasekwo's collar violently, then pressed him against the corner of the wall. Are you crazy, just hanging out with a lychee and now you're acting so noble and grand? Do you think you can go there just because you know him? Hanasekwo heard these words and was secretly surprised because even Seo-kun knew that he was Lysuko. Seo-kun looked at Hanasekwo with cold, hateful eyes. Don't be so arrogant, kid. But suddenly at this moment there were footsteps approaching and someone's voice rang out, you're too loud, you bastards who went to school no longer study and are still fighting? When people found out, they thought Koreans were full of thugs like you guys now. The person who just walked in from the rooftop was a big man with a hooded shirt that looked very strange and a skateboard on it. Seeing someone coming, Seokun was a little startled and scared. Kim Sung-tae again, why are you here? What's going on? Taking a nap on the roof before class is part of my schedule, but because they're so noisy, I can't sleep. Send the weird Kim Sung-tae up to Seokun's grim face and ask, class just started, why don't you bastard go back to class or don't you just ignore it? Seokun did not dare to resist him, but gritted his teeth and warned, you will regret this, Kim Sung-tae. Right after that, Seokun left helplessly and angrily. I was so scared, it was so threatening, oh my god, the shooter even waved goodbye and didn't take those words to heart. Only then did he look at Hanesaekwo standing bewilderedly next to him. Hey, you're Hanesaekwo. I've heard a lot about you. People say you're a one-legged skateboarder. I saw a video of you sliding down that steep slope. Nice to meet you. Speaking of which, Kim Sung-tae raised his hand and pulled the hood off his head. By the way, I'll tell you. I'm also your fan, Hanesaekwo. He pulled off his hat to reveal his handsome face with extremely prominent white hair like a spirit and reached out to shake hands with Hanesaekwo. After Seokun left, the bird shooter stopped there to chat with Hanesaekwo. I mean, do you know why Seokun is so angry? Hanesaekwo wondered. Kim Sung-tae heard that and pondered for a long time. Then he suddenly punched Hanesaekwo's shoulder and laughed. You really don't know anything, right? But I don't know where to start explaining, it's all very complicated. I'll tell you something after school. What are you doing on this rooftop? Normally I don't see you up here. Hanesaekwo heard that and then remembered the reason, right, then forgot. In the club room, Choi Sun-mi's clear voice rang out. I'm sorry for keeping everyone waiting. I'm a bit busy and I've found the last member for us. It's a junior that I've recently met and luckily he hasn't joined any clubs yet. Choi Sun-mi excitedly introduced herself while the girl who had just been pulled in cried without tears because she suddenly pulled her in like that. Choi Sun-mi had just finished entering the club room when she looked bewildered at the person sitting in the middle of the class. It turned out that person was Kim Sung-tae with white hair. Oh Kim Sung-tae, why are you here? Choi Sun-mi wondered. Hey Choi Sun-mi, are you the president of this club? Yeah, and I'm not planning on accepting a crazy person into the precious club I created. Sorry, but could you please leave here? When Kim Sung-tae heard that, he smiled harmlessly. Don't be like that and come and be invited in to fill the minimum number of troops needed for the club. Now it's Choi Sun-mi's turn to be confused. Were you invited or who invited you? Only then did Hanesaekwo speak up. It's me. I think we still don't have enough members. When Choi Sun-mi heard that, she felt like she had no regrets in life. Oh my god, among so many people, why did I invite him of all people? But anyway, it's nice to have everyone here. The goal of our club is to freely learn and enjoy the joy of skateboarding, so I hope every member will become friends. Each other. So we should introduce ourselves first. My name is Choi Sun-mi, student 52. Hello, I'm the cute cheese stick mascot of Hondang High School named Kim Sung-tae, a second-year student. Since I was little, I really wanted to skateboard and I got a good opportunity this time so I did it. Join this club. Looking at that guy's crazy appearance makes Choi Sun-mi extremely helpless. Oh my god, that guy who craves attention looks crazy. As for me, I'm an Ochanquat in third year. He always carries a book in his hand and neatly introduces himself wherever he goes. Haha, I'm Lim Chu-song, a second-year student pursuing love. I'm looking for a new hobby. My name is Han Chu-mi, I'm a first-year student and I'm forced to follow Choi Sun-mi. I think it will be fun and I also want to longboard like her. I'm sure everyone knows me, right? I'm a second-year student and my name is Hanesaekwo. I hope everyone can help me more. After everyone finished introducing Kim Sung-tae with his weird outfit, they kept clapping and shouting. Looking at this crazy action, everyone around was speechless, not knowing what to say. Anyway, we have to give direction to the club every month at least and every Saturday we will record the club's activities. The place across the school, you guys know the sign behind the park, so why don't we go there together during class? Choi Sun-mi started the first activities and everyone nodded in agreement. Okay, come here today, let's disperse, I have a headache. In the blink of an eye, the sunset light began to cover the entire space, making the environment become strangely gentle. At this time, 4 people in the newly formed club were standing in front of the school gate noisily waiting for someone. Choi Sun-mi silently wondered where Hanesaekwo and Lim Chu-song were. Why hadn't they arrived yet? Right at this moment, the other 2 slowly walked out of the schoolyard. I'm sorry. We're a little late for class. I'm sorry for making you wait. Choi Sun-mi smiled and shook her head. I'll only forgive you this time, so buy me something delicious to make up for it. Han Saikwo has no choice but to nod in agreement. Gone. So the bad group of them happily walked together on the street toward the yard next to the school. Han Saikwo and his friends seemed very happy to have the opportunity to gather together like that. Kim Sung-tae nonchalantly walked in the back watching everyone laugh and joke. He looked at the young man in front of him and at first he didn't pay much attention to Han Saikwo, but it seemed like he wasn't very tall. Kim Sung-tae looked at his legs that were still walking normally and wondered if it was because of his left leg. While he was stunned, Choi Sun-mi's voice rang out from behind, "Hey Kim Sung-tae, tell me the truth, what are you planning to do? What are you trying to do? Are you upset because I'm a member of another group?" Choi Sun-mi is angry we're not close enough to be in the same club, right? Kim Sung-tae shakes her head. Who cares, I'm only interested in Han Saikwo. One-legged skateboarding sounds so cool. I tell you that if you dare to hurt a member of my group, you will regret it. I really don't have anything to play with. At the same time, in a noisy beer and wine bar, a glass of dry wine approached the teacher and looked around as if looking for someone. He told me to come here, right? He muttered. At this time, in the corner of the room, there was a man already sitting there. When he saw the dry cup, he waved his hand, "Hey, over here. But why are you wearing a tank top in the middle of March? Don't you feel cold?" Suko sat down on the chair and heard that and immediately answered, "I just exercised and it's really cold. Why did you call me here?" Hearing that, the other person immediately stopped talking and got straight to the point. "Recently, you met Seo-kun, the best person in our group, right?" Hearing this, Suko was clearly startled and surprised. At this time, Choi Sun-mi's group had arrived at the training ground where they could practice skateboarding. Everyone, especially those who are new to this sport for the first time, are very surprised because they have only seen places like this on YouTube. Suddenly Kim Sung-tae approached and called Han Saikwo and asked if he could come over here and talk in private for a bit. "It's nothing, I don't have time so I have to say it quickly," Kim Sung-tae explained while secretly smiling. "I'm sorry, Choi Sun-mi, but out of curiosity, I couldn't hold back any longer. What should I do if Han Saikwo knew the truth about his group? Would he still want to be in that group?" Kim Sung-tae silently wondered. Faced with Han Saikwo's bewildered eyes, Kim Sung-tae started straight to the point. "I'll tell you one of Seo-kun's secrets is that Seo-kun." At the same time, the man who was chatting with Suko in the pub also mentioned Seo-kun. Seo-kun has multiple personality disorder. The man in the bar also spoke up. Recently Choi Dong-min has started to appear. Everything seemed coincidental when Suko and Han Saikwo both heard the news about Seo-kun at the same time, causing both of them to widen their eyes in surprise. And now the question is, what made him become like that? Seo-kun has multiple personalities, or in other words, there is more than one soul in his body? Kim Sung-tae nodded and continued to explain. The most important thing is why this often happens when he encounters a problem that has a strong psychological impact. Han Saikwo heard it and curiously asked what the reason was. "Haha, surprisingly the reason lies with the leader of the extreme group, the leader of your Sudrai group." On the other side of the bar, after hearing the news that another personality of Seo-kun named Choi Dong-min appeared again, Suko asked in a deep voice. Choi Dong-min had returned. "What's the point? That's why I asked you out here today. Honey, have you seen Seo-kun recently? Why did Choi Dong-min come back?" Hearing that the reason for the appearance of Seo-kun's other personality came from the group leader Suko, Han Saikwo was also extremely surprising. "What do you mean?" "What I'm saying is," right when Kim Sung-tae was about to answer, Choi Sun-mi coincidentally appeared right next to her and asked what you two are doing here. Everything seemed to freeze right now as the guest's words left Kim Sung-tae's throat and he tried to swallow them back into silence. Han Saikwo also felt that the atmosphere was not very good. "Nothing, don't worry about me chatting about trivial things like how fun it would be to slide together and all that." Clearly Choi Sun-mi didn't believe Kim Sung-tae's excuses and she said that never believe anything that comes out of his mouth. "Well, if you don't believe me then that's it. I'll go first and see you at the next club activities." "See you later Han Saikwo." He said goodbye and smiled a super handsome smile. Han Saikwo stood there bewilderedly, not having time to react. In the bar, the conversation between the two of them didn't seem very good. "I haven't seen Seo-kun recently." The person sitting across from Suko immediately sighed when he heard that. In fact, he was the only reason why Choi Dong-min reappeared. Suko heard that and his voice was low and cold. He warned him not to let Seo-kun wander around for too long. The person opposite heard that and burst out laughing. "Brother, didn't you warn me a bit too late? Besides, he is the trump card of my age group, especially Choi Dong-min. To be clear, I didn't call you here to solve this problem. I came here to warn you, you understand why, and don't forget to remind the other members of your group to be careful. I'll go first. After saying that, he immediately left, leaving him sitting contemplatively at the wine table. Under the sunset light of the crowded apartment building, Hung Si-kwo has returned to his home. Dear parents, I'm home. Hana Si-kwo's father sat on the sofa and saw his son and immediately asked him if he had had dinner. I'll go buy it myself in a moment. Suha, do you want to eat anything so I can buy it too? The little girl Suha came out of the kitchen and looked at her brother and asked, No, are you going to the convenience store now? I think you'll just go skateboarding again. Hana Si-kwo heard that and immediately panicked and signaled, Shush, keep quiet. If mom knew about this, she would go crazy. I bet you must have suffered a lot because it was dangerous, brother. Hana Si-kwo sighed, I'll take care of this, so it's a secret, okay? Suha girl pondered for a moment and then nodded, probably okay. No matter what, don't tell your parents. Hung Si-kwo left while thinking to himself, where did she learn that look from? The sky was dark without a single starlight, only a few lights emanating from the street lamps next to the river. The skateboard's wheels kept rolling on the road surface. Hana Si-kwo was skateboarding and silently thinking about what Kim Sung-tae had said in the afternoon. Although Hana Si-kwo knew the reason, he didn't know the details. Choi Sun-mi also reminded him not to get too close to him and even be very careful. But if you think about it carefully, Hana Si-kwo doesn't know much about this group of extreme people. Everything is gradually becoming extremely complicated. With one hand, Hana Si-kwo grabbed the skateboard and thought, wondering if he should ask. Are you Ly Suko or anyone else on this matter? Anyway, Hana Si-kwo didn't notice that he had been passing through this area often these past few days. In his unconscious thoughts, Hana Si-kwo had arrived at a familiar area, making him a bit surprised. Let's just warm up a little. Han Si-kwo looked at the skateboarding rink and thought of Ly Suko's words the other day. At that time, Ly Suko said that he would give the assignment to Hana Si-kwo to try. What about homework? Skateboarding also has homework. Yeah, that's how you did that downhill slide earlier. Hearing this question that afternoon, Hana Si-kwo was very embarrassed and shy. Well, that was just a fluke. Hearing that, Ly Suko immediately asked me why you chose that trick. This trick of putting one foot on the skateboard is a trick that only he can do. If a skilled skateboarder teaches him such a good technique, he will definitely become a professional skater. Hana Si-kwo heard his senior's comment and was stunned to realize that it was a trick that only he could use, although before he didn't think it was something big. Ly Suko said that and then turned around and left. Because the technique is only you who can do it, no one can help you with this type of exercise, so you have to practice it yourself. I believe you can do it. You can do it and do it better because you have very good feelings and reflexes. Remember the instructions of Hana Si-kwo standing on the edge of the slope thinking in ecstasy. The first time you fall, remember that moment. The skateboard is placed on the side of the slope along with a smart prosthetic foot. Let's go. DROPIN is a trick for skating, and a ball is a specialized type of slope for skateboarding that has a long or short basin shape and the slope depends on the equipment. Hana Si-kwo's eyes now became strangely calm, completely different from his usual temperament. Suddenly, a skateboard began to slide down the steep slope. His eyes were as calm as an autumn lake, focusing intently on the goal ahead. The speed of the skateboard at this time is extremely high because the inertia makes everything around feel like it has blurred. Hana Si-kwo, with standard postures, expertly controls the moving lever of the skateboard. The skateboard glides down to the ground then turns around and flies uphill again, and at the very moment the skateboard flies to the other side of the ball. Then the Hung Si-kwo will fall sharply to one side of the floor and flip the board over. At this point, the skateboard has been flipped and rotated and it is necessary to accurately catch the opportunity. Before the board fell, Hung Si-kwo bet on his prosthetic leg for the perfect moment. This was the right time for him to act. With the constant stream of calculating thoughts in his mind, Hana Si-kwo's body immediately adjusted accordingly. One foot grabbed his entire body skateboard like a dolphin circling in the air, extremely beautiful. Then the foot gently kicks the skateboard causing the skateboard to rotate again. Then immediately maintained balance on that skateboard and landed extremely well on the ground. After completing the spin in the air, Hung Si-kwo's head was covered in sweat and he stood bewildered. The boy looked at the skateboard and looked back at his legs in surprise, wondering, what is this, what is going on? I just recently succeeded. After his first success, Hana Si-kwo excitedly tried a few more times but in the end he still failed and fell flat on his face. At this time, the boy sat panting on the ground because the intense exercise made him very tired. I usually learn very quickly when trying new techniques, but today I did something like this. But since I've been practicing a lot, maybe I'll stop here today. It's time to go home, otherwise it will be late. After deciding to postpone the workout for the next day, Hanasaiko immediately went to a nearby convenience store to find something to eat. This is the type of water that Suha likes, isn't it? It's 7,801. Do you need a plastic bag? Can I have a plastic bag please? Thank you for your support, please take your time. Hanasaiko, after leaving the convenience store, looked at the pile of food in her hand and silently hoped that with this pile of bribed food, she would keep it a secret and not tell her parents. Suddenly a loud voice rang out, "Is it Hanasaiko? Who is the president?" After unexpectedly meeting the president of the Extreme Club in front of the convenience store, the two of them once again went to the park and sat on a bench together. Hanasaiko gently looked at the thoughtful man next to him and said something that reminded him of Kim Sung-tae's words that afternoon. The reason why Seo-kun has multiple personality disorder is because of the president Lee Suko. Looking at the pensive face of the man next to him in this silent atmosphere made Hung Si-kwo begin to feel confused. What should I do if he's dead? Is he really a bad person? It's not like I will be the next target. What should I do? Should I run? Hanasaiko's imagination began to be fully developed. Lee Suko called out to him again, making the young man startled. Hanasaiko, how's your homework going? I actively tried to do that move but the success rate was not very high. Lee Suko heard that and nodded, so you have a very good sense of light and react very quickly, so sooner or later you'll be able to master it, don't worry. Lee Suko kept talking but Hanasaiko couldn't concentrate because he was distracted and worried about whether he should ask directly or not because he was also very curious. Oh, and by the way, after the last failed test, have you seen Seo-kun again? Hearing that, Hanasaiko immediately remembered the previous meeting on the rooftop and at that time that Seo-kun also mentioned Lee Suko's name. Yes, I met him. Hearing this answer, Lee Suko was immediately startled. So did you mention that you joined our association? Hanasaiko shook his head and replied that he didn't say that, but it seemed that Suk-kun already knew, so there was no shortage of ways to know that information. Hanasaiko, listen carefully to what I'm about to say. Lee Suko's voice suddenly became serious. That guy named Seo-kun was once a member of our association. The two of us were also quite close to each other. But then he left the association because of a fatal misunderstanding. Seo-kun suffered from multiple personality disorder and after leaving this association, other personalities appeared even more often. Before, he had always fantasized about revenge. He thought that as time passed, that thought would gradually fade away, but he didn't expect things to turn out like this. I've heard that recently but its other ways appear more and more often and of course there's a reason, maybe it's still preoccupied with what you've done. Hanasaiko heard Lee Suko tell the story at this point and couldn't help but awkwardly speak up. Can I ask him what he misunderstood about you? Lee Suko heard that and immediately pondered for a while then he suddenly stood up. Next time I will tell you in detail. It's late now so let's stop here. In 2 weeks there will be a meeting between the associations before then remember to complete your homework. Hanasaiko sat in a chair bewildered, looking at Lee Suko's retreating back and in the end, he still didn't know what that misunderstanding was. At that time, Seo-kun was very angry, pointed at him and scolded him not to act condescending just because he knew that old guy. Then replied to Lee Suko's earlier statement that after leaving the guild, Seo-kun's other personalities appeared more often. Although the words of these two people are unknown, Hanasaiko is now curious about something else. That's why before, when Hanasaiko still had no relationship with the Limit Society, Seo-kun treated him like that. The things that have happened in these few days have made Hung Si-kwo feel confused. The tired boy lay down on the bed. He didn't understand why he suddenly fell into such a complicated situation. But it was too late to go to sleep. Hanasaiko rolled over and sank into the warm blanket while his smart prosthetic leg was charging next to him. The surrounding buildings began to turn off all their lights and everyone fell into a sound sleep. In the early morning, sunlight penetrated through the glass window into the room along with the constant ringing of the alarm bell. The guava sound made the sleeping Hanasaiko gradually wake up. The boy opened his tired eyes to face a new day. Oh my god, I keep wearing the alarm, but what time is it? Hanasaiko reached for the phone to turn off the alarm and opened the screen to see. Oh my god, it's too late. The house was in trouble, the house was on fire, the house was on fire. The boy had no more time and immediately jumped off the bed. If you come late today, Hanasaiko will soon die. The boy immediately changed his clothes, took a bath, and put on his prosthetic leg. It's too late, come on. Just as Hung Si-Kuo was about to leave the room, something in the corner of the room caught his eye. That was the skateboard that the captain of the extreme team gave him on the day he first joined that group. Stood in front of the Hung Si-Kuo skateboard in silent contemplation for a while. Then he grabbed the skateboard and quickly left the house. Or maybe it's not too late yet. In the elevator hundreds of uncles with each number are jumping in. If you follow the bridge and then go down the slope, you need to run at full speed to avoid being late. At this moment, the father's voice rang out behind him, "Han Si-Kuo, are you going to school? You're late, son," the father said while paying attention to the skateboard in his son's hand. What is that in his hand? While Han Si-Kuo was confused and didn't know how to answer properly, the father spoke up again, "Are you holding your friend's skateboard?" Han Si-Kuo heard that and quickly nodded yes. "Dad also knows that even if you want to slide, you can't slide," the boy said while looking at his feet. Hearing that, the father nodded and said nothing more. "But anyway, it's good for you to exercise a little bit, but don't play dangerous games." Han Si-Kuo let out a sigh. "Of course, you don't know anything about this stuff." "Yes. Luckily, Dad believed in me," Han Si-Kuo thought to himself, but at this moment a child's sharp voice rang out, startling him again. "I'm ready, Dad." "What is this voice?" The boy turned his head and looked back bewilderedly and discovered his sister had just walked out of the house. Han Si-Kuo's whole body tensed up and a strange premonition began to arise. He couldn't. A family of 3 of them stepped into the elevator together and moved down to the lobby of the apartment building. The entire time Han Si-Kuo stood in the elevator, her body was always tense for fear that her younger sister would say something. Max Hung Si-Kuo kept staring at the closed elevator door in front of him. He forgot that his father always took his sister to school before going to work. It's so miserable. She's like a ticking time bomb. Han Si-Kuo bought her a drink last night, so she won't be betrayed. Please don't say anything, Suha, Han Si-Kuo silently prayed. Moments later, the elevator arrived and Han Si-Kuo just quickly rushed out to escape this time-exploding bomb. "I'm going now, goodbye Dad." Just as he ran out of the hall, his sister's voice rang out again, making Han Si-Kuo freeze. "Wait, brother. Why are you in such a hurry?" Little Suha calmly looked at her brother and loudly told her that she had to be careful on the road so she wouldn't get hurt. Han Si-Kuo was called by his sister and almost fell backwards. "Are you threatening me, you stupid girl?" Then he waved to her and said goodbye, "See you later." On the pedestrian bridge across the street, Hung Si-Kuo rushed onto the bridge like the wind. Then he braked quickly and turned around to run forward. The boy's face looks like he's in a hurry and his pace isn't slow at all. Hung Si-Kuo cannot be late today at any cost. Because it's an important day. I was about to be late for class, so soon the students hurried into the school gate. At this moment, Kim Sung-Tae was standing in the middle of the gate, making her mumble, attracting everyone's attention, "Hello everyone." While he was cheerful, the supervisor's voice rang out, "Hey, that girl wearing a hooded shirt over there." Kim Sung-Tae was startled and pointed at himself and asked again, "Is it me? Who else is here? Who allowed me to dress like this to school? Have you seen anyone like you?" This teacher with a serious face is the Karma teacher. Oh my gosh, today teacher Cho Dong-chun is in charge of guarding the school gate again. It's a nightmare at the school gate. The shooter started to panic and didn't know how to respond. What is this? Suddenly he had an idea, pointed to the side and shouted, "That's a walking trash can." The teacher was attracted and looked in that direction, confused and asked what he was talking about. Meanwhile, Kim Sung-Tae took the opportunity to run away and rush into the schoolyard. At the same time, on Han Si-Kuo Street, he was still trying to run as fast as he could to get to school on time. Just go past this bridge and there will be another slope. Thinking of this, he immediately picked up his skateboard and prepared to perform his ultimate move. As soon as you exit the Hung Si-Kuo Bridge, immediately turn down the slope next to it. The skateboard was expertly placed on the ground, rubbing against the road surface, making a squeaking sound. Threw a Han Si-Kuo straight up the sliding wall and plunged down. The flat and unobstructed slope is right next to the train tracks. Looking at the long road ahead, Han Si-Kuo silently wondered if he should speed up or not. Unfortunately, this isn't a street skateboard. If this continues, you'll be late. And then Hung Si-Kuo increased his speed and rushed down the steep slope. But the last part of that slope suddenly became very dangerous. Han Si-Kuo saw it and couldn't help but be startled because this part was so steep. In that blink of an eye, he promptly reacted and demonstrated his skateboarding skills, using one foot to slam down onto the tip of the skateboard. After that, both people and skateboards jumped out of there with the umbrella technique. A jump that surprised me but was extremely wonderful and beautiful. There was a loud sound of the skateboard hitting the road and Han Si-Kuo successfully landed safely. At this moment, the boy couldn't help but laugh because the moment just now was quite dangerous, but his quick reaction made him land extremely comfortably, but there was no time left to speed up. The supervisor at the school gate is watching every second on the clock to be able to close the door. Time is up, please close the school gate. In the distance, near the school gate, Hung Si-kwo was speeding towards him with his skateboard. Seeing the reading gate closed, he was extremely frightened. Can't wait a moment. There were still a few students outside trying to run and scream, "Wait for me." The supervisor immediately got annoyed and asked the question late, then try to wake up earlier next time. Suddenly, the silhouette of a guy with a white hoodie and a naughty smile appeared. It was a young man with white hair who used his foot to block the door to prevent the teacher from closing it. "I set foot in before closing, so I still counted it on time, right?" The supervisor immediately shouted something nonsense about this jumper. At this moment, Hung Si-kwo promptly approached and grabbed the skateboard with his hand. His other hand was on the silver-haired boy's shoulder to use his strength to jump up. A wonderful jump straight into the schoolyard to the amazement of the other two. Hana Si-kwo looked at the other guy and still managed to say sorry in time. The boy also turned to look back at the person who was resting his hand on his shoulder, pensive and saying nothing. After the jump, Hana Si-kwo landed by inertia and ran a few more steps before stopping in time. At this moment, he stood breathing like a buffalo after the intense exercise just now. "I entered school before the gate closed, so it doesn't count as late, right?" The supervisor looked bewildered at the boy's happy smile in front of him. Before the teacher could say anything more, Hana Si-kwo immediately ran into the schoolyard. "Teacher, thank you very much." The white-haired boy also looked at that figure in bewilderment, silently wondering which way it was. During gym class, when everyone was having fun playing soccer, Lim Chu-song was now sitting quietly on the nearby steps, focusing on his phone. "Hey Chu-river, hey Chu-river." Hana Si-kwo approached and kept calling, but his friend was bewildered and did not answer. "Hey, are you ignoring me? What are you watching that makes you so focused?" When Lim Chu-song saw a figure appearing next to him, he was startled. "Are you calling me? It's a good time to sit down here. I have something to ask you." After saying that, Lim Chu-song immediately held out the phone for Hana Si-kwo to see, and above the main screen were a series of skateboards with different prices. "Are you looking to buy a new skateboard?" "Yes, from tomorrow the club will start operating, so I want to buy something, but I don't know what to choose. It seems like each type of board is a little different. Do they have any effect?" Hearing that, Hung Si-kwo immediately nodded. "The top one is a longboard, the bottom one is a street skateboard." Lim Chu-song wonders what's the difference between these two. Hana Si-kwo raised his hand to think how to say it as simply as possible. Depending on the function and purpose of use, the shape of the skateboard will be different. Standard boards are created to perform tricks, so the front and back are identical. The front and back street boards have larger wheel differences. Selling shoes with a large body, so it is suitable for going downhill or combining with dancing. The characteristics of a longboard are a long and wide body. Nowadays, there are even surfboards used to practice surfing. Is there so much, so which one should I buy that is suitable for beginners? Hana Si-kwo saw that his friend was still asking and felt helpless because he had explained everything, but he still couldn't decide for himself. "That's right, you don't have to join a club to learn how to skateboard, so you can just buy a skateboard to skate around and just have fun." Lim Chu-song heard that and immediately blushed and protested. He said he only came to learn how to skateboard. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Hana Si-kwo heard that and secretly thought that his intention was even to the cat. Passers-by can also see it. At this time, the white-haired boy that Hana Si-kwo had met in the morning was walking to a very remote schoolyard. In that yard was the noise of a group of people playing. The young man walked and looked around, wondering if this was the right place. In front of the white-haired boy was a group of 4 young students laughing loudly together. One of them discovered the white-haired boy coming and immediately laughed and joked with the others. "Hey, rookie here, it's a junior who just joined our club, a new member." At this time, that guy also walked over, smiled and introduced himself. "Hello, I'm Lee Tae-min, a first-year student. Nice to meet you." "Hello, your test was very impressive. You must have learned how to skateboard somewhere before." "That's pretty good." "Haha, honestly, I'm still very young and need to learn more," Lee Tae-min replied with a modest smile. "Don't worry, if you work hard with the club, you'll be able to join the club, so try to attract Seokun's attention." "Sukun, you're so annoying, why haven't you introduced us to the group yet?" Who knows what that guy is thinking? "Hey rookie, if you want to attract Seokun's attention, you have to work hard. His personality is very complex, so it's not easy. Also, you should be a little careful, especially these days. Will suddenly become unusually ferocious." While everyone was talking to each other, a gentle voice rang out, "Everyone's sorry for being late. What's wrong? Why are you so late?" Light-Emin opened her eyes wide to look at the person who had just walked over, and that person was, I'm sorry, this is Seo-kun, right?" Seo-kun now approached and extended his hand to shake hands with Light-Emin. "Oh, you're a new member, nice to meet you. I have something to tell Light-Emin, do you mind stepping away for a moment?" He suddenly turned around, looked at his friends and asked. Everyone was stunned by this proposal but also nodded in agreement. What is it that is cleverly chasing us away? After everyone left, only the two of them were left sitting on the wooden bench. At this moment Seo-kun is gentle with a smile on his lips, completely different from his fierce appearance a few days ago. "First of all, congratulations on joining the enthusiastic group." Light-Emin smiled and nodded in response to thank him. It turned out that unlike the people he was chatting with earlier, Light-Emin had joined the association before. "Well, my friends still don't know this news, so please try to keep it a secret." If they knew that a new recruit who had just passed the test joined the guild, it would be very troublesome. Of course he was accepted because he's really good, but it's better to keep it a secret. "I'm so jealous, I wish he had talent like him." Soo-kun suddenly became gloomy and gentle. Strange. Light-Emin sitting next to him saw his appearance and felt puzzled and silently thought to himself, what is he talking about? He is the leader of the club and I am just a member. It's just petty. And what makes me wonder is that something is very strange about the way he talked, as if he was a completely different person. It's not like having another personality is called multiple personality. Thinking of this, Light-Emin was startled and panicked because if he remembered carefully, he had heard similar stories before. In cases of multiple personalities, some people have more than just personality changes. It is said that in some cases personalities split their consciousness as a separate person. And what's more surprising is that physical abilities will also change based on current personality. In Germany, there was a woman who encountered a similar situation. A long time ago, she had an accident and doctors diagnosed that she had completely lost her vision due to damage to the center of her brain. But when her other personality took control of her body, that blind girl could see again. Then when her body returned to its original personality, her eyesight disappeared again, like her nervous system was a switch. In that case, the body is completely controlled by individual consciousness? If that's true, then Seo-kun's other personality is a personality whose superior skateboarding ability matches his current reputation. Now in the hallway of a row of classrooms, Hanasaiko was standing in front of Choi Sun-mi and he asked again, "Is it 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon?" "That's right, I was going to tell you on the group chat, but now that I've seen you, I'll remind you to report back to column Chusong and Kim Sung-tae. See you tomorrow." Choi Sun-mi waved goodbye and hurriedly left. At this moment, Hanasaiko secretly thought that he would go tell Lim Chusong first and the next break would go and tell Kim Sung-tae later. Then, by the way, he will ask more about the last story that was left unfinished. Time gradually passed into the break of that day. Hanasaiko absent-mindedly walked step by step up the stairs leading to the terrace. As I walked, I wondered why Kim Sung-tae was always on the rooftop and not studying. Hanasaiko's hand touched the door handle, intending to open it. As soon as the door opened, Seo-kun suddenly appeared in front of Hanasaiko again, just like last time. This sudden appearance startled Hanasaiko. "Suk-kun, why is he here? Oh my god, why do we keep bumping into each other?" Looking at Hanasaiko's worried appearance, Seo-kun pondered for a moment before speaking. "It's okay, don't worry." Seo-kun's appearance shocked Hanasaiko. What did he say? "Nice to meet you. You're Hanasaiko, right?" To Hanasaiko's surprise was Seo-kun's gentle and friendly appearance. Suk-kun had a different personality. After he left the guild, that personality appeared more often. Hanasaiko also promptly remembered what Kim Sung-tae had said before. So is he being that friendly personality now? But actually, Hanasaiko doesn't know if this is his real personality or not. After shaking hands, the two of them stood on the terrace looking at the schoolyard. After being silent for a long time, waiting for the cool breeze, Suk-kun lost his lips and said the two words, "I'm sorry." What did he just say? "I have a secret that I keep hidden from everyone, but I will tell you as an apology. I have another person living inside this body. He is a very hot-tempered person who gets angry easily and still hates everything related to the previous incident. In the past, I was bullied and people were always afraid and shunned me because of this multiple personality disease. Since then I started keeping my illness a secret and trying to make friends with everyone. But now the guild members and some other people already know about my condition. Since then he often appears and is violent towards those around him." Hanasaiko heard Seo-kun recount his past and was very surprised because from a certain angle, Seo-kun's story had a similar past to Hana Saikwo's. I know why he bullied you, the reason is the same as before, so I want to apologize to you again. I'm very sorry for the mistakes my other personality caused. Hana Saikwo heard that and immediately shook his head. It's okay, no need. But I heard that you joined the limit group, right? Seo-kun's next words startled Hana Saikwo. Our situation is similar, so can you listen to me for once? You should leave that association. Seo-kun's suggestion made Han Saikwo confused, so he asked what you were saying. The president of that limit club is not as good as you think. He is someone who always takes advantage of disabled people like you and me, so I'm just saying this for your own good, so leave that association. So what he means is that the president Lee Suko is trying to take advantage of me, Hana Saikwo thought to himself. Hana Saikwo also remembered the president's words that night in the park. Clearly Suk-kun, that boy, used to be a member of our association, but then after a fatal misunderstanding he chose festival. Hana Saikwo saw that and immediately wanted to ask, wait a minute, what you just said is probably... Before Hana Saikwo could finish his sentence, a strange face appeared with a surprised voice. Oh, it was unbelievable. You two can actually talk to each other. Something as absurd as this should be classified as science fiction. Seo-kun turned around to look at the person who had just appeared. Kim Sung-tae, you always skip class and hide on the rooftop, right? Ah, Seo-kun, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Why have you been so rare lately? Suk-kun heard that and smiled shyly. The reason was a bit complicated. Kim Sung-tae nodded to show he understood, patting Suk-kun's shoulder and reminding him that if the other guy got mad, it's very troublesome, please remember to be careful. Hana Saikwo looked bewildered at the familiar appearance of the two of them and couldn't help but ask, are you two very close now? Only then did the two of them remember that one person was still standing next to them. Didn't I mention that we went to the same middle school and discovered his secret? It's so interesting. Seo-kun smiled and nodded. He was the first person to actively talk to me. Normally, Choi Dong-min hates that very much. This guy is so crazy he even set up a shelter on the rooftop. Do you want to see it? Stop telling others like that. Following Seo-kun Hung Si-kwo's instructions, he discovered a small tent set up right on the rooftop, and looking at this tent, he knew it was Kim Sung-tae style. Oh, there's this thing right next to the door to the terrace, and then I didn't notice it, so he hasn't been caught yet and no one's checking? Kim Sung-tae scratched his head and advised, please keep it a secret. If you get found out, you'll probably die. Not sure, but what were you guys talking about just now? Only when I heard Kim Sung-tae ask Han Si-kwo did I realize right away. There's something I want to hear from you guys. Can you tell me about the president? He said it was just a misunderstanding. Hearing this misunderstanding, Seo-kun suddenly stood still. Kim Sung-tae also immediately noticed something was wrong. Damn, you shouldn't have said that. At this moment, Kim Sung-tae's friendly personality kept shouting in his mind, wait, I haven't finished speaking yet. His brutal personality immediately countered, saying anything else would be useless. Already, Kim Sung-tae saw that Suk-kun was holding his head in pain and immediately shouted for Hana Saikwo to quickly run back to class. Hana Saikwo still didn't understand anything and stood there dumbfounded, even asking why. Oh my gosh, there's no time to explain. Hurry up. Right now the two personalities are fighting extremely fiercely with each other. If he doesn't know, it's not his fault, so don't do that. The personality named Choi Dong-min immediately shouted loudly, shut up, get out of my way, I have to control my body. When he took control of Seo-kun's body, his personality named Choi Dong-min immediately shouted angrily, Hana Saikwo, you son of a bitch, come here to me. What the hell do you know to say it's a misunderstanding? While Choi Dong-min is screaming non-stop, Kim Sung-tae is trying to restrain him. You low-class trash son of a bitch, I will beat you up. Seeing Hana Saikwo still standing there bewildered like that, Kim Sung-tae angrily shouted, what are you doing? I told you to go away. Are you so good that you dare to appear in front of me? Choi Dong-min's entire face was now contorted and looked extremely fierce. How dare you appear in front of me like nothing happened? Kim Sung-tae was startled by Choi Dong-min's struggles because for some reason, when this personality appeared, his body suddenly became strangely healthy. My mother couldn't hold him anymore. Right at that moment Choi Dong-min shouted, Hana Saikwo, come here for me. Then he rushed towards Hana Saikwo with a powerful punch. Why is it that in these moments the main character always stands there dumbfounded? Hana Saikwo looks at the fist approaching him and still wonders if he said something wrong. Every time another personality appears, his suffering becomes worse. At this moment, Hana Saikwo still had time to think of the suffering that Seo-kun was enduring. There was no one to help him. The pain gradually destroyed his mind. If he cannot overcome this pain, it will continue to gnaw at him. Seeing him suffer alone like that made me feel so sad. Hanesaiko was moved to tears by Seo-kun's condition. The fist was approaching, so Hanesaiko immediately closed his eyes to prepare for the pain on his face. After waiting for a long time, he didn't see a fist hit his face, so he opened his eyes in confusion. It turned out someone had appeared and grabbed Choi Dong-min's fist. Hanesaiko looked in surprise at the person standing in front of him, Senior Kwon Hyun-ho. Choi Dong-min was also very surprised to see the person who had just appeared. The gunman had just been pushed down and sat on the floor gasping for air when he saw Kwon Hyun-ho standing up, so he also breathed a sigh of luck. Kwon Hyun-ho coldly looked at the guy in front of him and said, "Hello, long time no see. Choi Dong-min, do you still remember me?" One of Kwon Hyun-ho's hands tightly grasped Choi Dong-min's fist, causing the two people's hands to constantly tremble. Choi Dong-min was so angry that he gritted his teeth because he wasn't a high school student, but the power of this guy was so strong. "You think you can do whatever you want to me, Kwon Hyun-ho?" Right at this moment, another voice rang out on the rooftop again, attracting everyone's attention. "You guys stop. Didn't I tell you to stop acting on your emotions? Anyway, you never listen to what I say." This person is the 19-year-old North Dong-hun enthusiastic former president of the skateboarding club. When Kim Sung-tae saw someone coming, he breathed a sigh of relief because this was one of the few people who could control Choi Dong-min's personality. "It's so delicious. You came at the right time." At this time, Kwon Hyun-ho also had free time to turn around and look back at Hanesaiko in deep thought. Kwon Hyun-ho remembered Lee Suko's advice the day before. "Yes, you're here. Choi Dong-min has been appearing more often lately, probably because of Hanesaiko, so next time, help me keep an eye on Hanesaiko." Upon hearing that, Kwon Hyun-ho nodded and agreed that I understood. "So that's how things are. Luckily I followed you up here." At this time, Baek Dong-hun coldly looked at Choi Dong-min and said that he did not let him become the new president of the club to let him act like this. Facing the man in front of him, Choi Dong-min frowned and hummed softly in his heart. After that, he left, and when he passed by, Hanesaiko couldn't help but nudge him on the shoulder. Seeing him leave, Kim Sung-tae stood up and breathed a sigh of relief because everything was over. "Oh God, it's already so late. We'll ask permission to go first, you too." After saying that, Kim Sung-tae pulled Hanesaiko's neck and rushed towards the stairs. "It's Kim Sung-tae, this group is interesting." Kwon Hyun-ho nodded as if, "Thanks to you, everything ended smoothly." Baek Dong-hun heard that and immediately shook his head and didn't bother, so he was the one who restrained Choi Dong-min. "I myself am responsible for leaving the club to focus on producing music, not to mention the fact that it's in the same club as me," Baek Dong-hun said as he remembered the boy from before. He was Hanesaiko, right? He has caused quite a stir. Maybe I should keep an eye on him in the future. In class, Choi Sun-mi was sitting at her desk when a girl approached and called her. "Choi Sun-mi, the teacher is looking for you. What's going on? Why are you suddenly looking for me?" Choi Sun-mi wondered while walking down the hallway. A moment later, she went to the teacher's room to meet the teacher. Suddenly she heard the teacher say something that made Choi Sun-mi lose her mind in math. "Oh my God, your voice is so loud that my ears are tearing up." Choi Sun-mi was confused but didn't forget to ask why our club registration application was rejected. "Do you think this makes sense? Our school already has a skateboard club, why do you want to start a new one?" Choi Sun-mi heard that and immediately objected. That club gave its own test and recruited good people, but I'm sure there are many other students who just want to learn skateboarding for fun. Because there were so many people registering, it was only right that they create their own tests. The teacher did not find that decision strange. "If you don't like that issue, you can make an official request and send it to them. Do you want to do that?" Choi Sun-mi felt extremely awkward when she heard that and didn't know how to respond. "If not, please change the club's topic and re-register again." Seeing that there was no other way, Choi Sun-mi let out a tired sigh. At the same time, in class, Lim Chu-song was still focused on his phone. "After buying it, I'm already looking forward to tomorrow's skateboarding session." Even the youngest sister of the newly established skateboarding club named Han Chu-mi was also thinking in a trance. "Looks like we have a club activity this week. Later on the way home I have to stop by the store to buy a new board." Return to the stairs on the rooftop where Hanesaiko and Kim Sung-tae are walking down together. "But Hanesaiko, why are you going up to the rooftop? What are you going to say to Seo-kun?" "Oh right, that's right, I remember Choi Sun-mi asked to tell you that club activities will start this week." Kim Sung-tae was so excited when he heard that. "Oh, this week has started. This is going to be very interesting, I'm really excited." The teacher's room was currently sobbing non-stop, looking extremely pitiful. "Crying won't help, the rules are the rules, the time to register for the club is over. I'll give you 5 seconds to decide. 1 2 3 4 5, the teacher started counting the numbers while Choi Sun-mi was still bewildered. Suddenly the girl stood up, making the teacher panic. I have decided, sir. After a tiring day at school, Hung Si-kwo finally returned home. Oh my god, today has been such a long day with so many things going on. But at least today he learned what Seo-kun's condition was. It seems like Seo-kun misunderstood something, but what exactly was the misunderstanding between them? The leader of the Lysuko group will say to tell you later, so for the time being, it may be difficult for you to find out anything more. Suddenly, the message notification sound rang out. Hana Sekwo took the phone to check and discovered a message about chimpanzee dancing in the chat group of the club they had just established. Message from Choi Sun-mi that tomorrow is the first club activity but the meeting location will be slightly changed. Kim Sung-tae immediately texted back wondering, why do we have to choose which route we go skateboarding? Choi Sun-mi's rebuttal message suddenly radiated fierce murderous intent. Don't you know I will take care of everything, just listen to me. Looking at this message, Kim Sung-tae suddenly felt cold all over and immediately nodded in agreement. Yes, I know, sister. Hana Sekwo looked at everyone chatting with each other and couldn't help but laugh. He changed locations again. That's right, I need to do my homework too. Last time I succeeded on the first try but after that I kept failing. The meeting between associations will take place soon. I don't know if we will be able to complete it in time. I don't know, I can't think of anything else. At that moment my younger sister's voice rang out, telling me that my older brother told me to take a shower before going to bed. Hearing that, Hung Si-kwo gave his mother a thumbs up and said he knew. The boy lying on the bed kept sighing like an annoying old man. The next morning Hana Sekwo followed the new address that Choi Sun-mi sent to find the place where they would gather. At this moment, he was looking at his phone in bewilderment and looking around. It seems like it's somewhere around here, right? Hana Sekwo, over here, quickly. Hana Sekwo heard the call and immediately waved back and saw them. Then he quickly ran to meet with his friends. After a while, Choi Sun-mi angrily mumbled that we've been waiting for 20 minutes, why haven't we seen him yet? When will that guy finally get here? Hana Sekwo quickly spoke up to reassure him and called to say he was coming soon. As soon as Hana Sekwo finished speaking, the other guy's voice called out the blow, and everyone said oh how long have you been waiting? It's here, don't be angry anymore. At this moment Kim Sung-tae appeared on the escalator but he did not slowly walk down the stairs but instead jumped from one staircase to the other. His foot stepped on the edge of the escalator, then took advantage of the momentum and jumped coolly, whole body hugging in the air, then skillfully rotated a few times like a chicken egg. Then he landed beautifully like a superhero. Kim Sung-tae is here. Just when he was acting cool, a brutal chop to the back of his neck made Kim Sung-tae spit out saliva. This crazy guy is annoying to death. I told you to show up at 10 o'clock but you're still late. How dare you ever not be late? It's over. Kim Sung-tae was given a very scary beating by Choi Sun-mi. A short while later, when everyone had arrived, the train was on time to depart. We all sat quietly on the train, some were on their phones, others were closing their eyes to rest. Hey Choi Sun-mi, why don't you tell us the truth? Choi Sun-mi heard that and immediately asked in bewilderment what she was saying. What's more, why don't we go to the park and play instead of getting on the train to go to town? Choi Sun-mi was starting to feel awkward at this point. That was the truth. Faced with teacher Choi Sun-mi's determination not to organize a skateboard club, she had no choice but to make a choice. That girl thought a lot about how she could maintain the skateboard club without violating the school's regulations. Finally, a horror idea arose in Choi Sun-mi's head. Okay, I've decided now, sir. The teacher was confused as to how to decide. I'm going to sign up for a new club. Okay, so what is the name of your new club and what roles will it play? The main club name is... After hearing the story, Hung Si-kwo was confused. What about the Career Experience Club? With the goal of finding a suitable job for each person's talents, we will interview and experience countless different jobs. Kim Sung-tae angrily shouted, hey you crazy woman, how can you make that decision on your own? I thought this was a skateboarding club. Oh my god, I have a headache. I don't know what to do. This is the only way to protect the club. We just need to take pictures and write a report. Then we can skate freely. So what do you mean we have to do the same every week? Choi Sun-mi nodded shyly. We don't have any choice. He just think we will have many beautiful memories together every week. Oh Changkwat sighed. It seems like you're stuck in an awkward situation. So where are we going today? Choi Sun-mi immediately smiled and replied that it was a good question. The place we are going today is where I'm working as a studio photo model.